surprise, we have a whole new show for you, BSite Baddies. Donna, I have said in so many comments and on like so many questions when people have been like, who do you want to collab with? I'm always like, Donna. Who do you want to do a podcast with? Donna. And then we finally got to do it. It's been a drive to get here and to sync up our schedules. But here we are.
I'm so excited. Oh my God. First of all, guys, please let us know what you think about the name BSite Baddies. We were just like brainstorming like, hey, how could we call this like podcast that we want to start together? And yeah, I think that's a cool name. I really like it. What else did we had? I think we had something like still cooking, kitchen control, but you know, like something like funny, but like I think it was like not as good as BSite Baddies. I like it.
And it was Plant the Tea. There was that one as well.
Oh yeah, that we had too. Yeah.
But the final two were Deagle Divas and BSite Baddies.
Deagle Divas. Yeah, I forgot about Deagle Divas. Oh,
we had some good names.
Yeah, actually also good. I like BSite Baddies. I think that's really cool. But yeah, let us know what you think about it. I'm super excited to start this. So yeah, I mean, we have a kind of like a plan in what direction we want to go. Maybe Sam, you want to elaborate?
I like that you want me to elaborate because I'm like, what? The plan was we just wanted to do a show together and we had we wanted to talk about like the emotions that we feel, like the way that we feel when we watch the games. And then we started talking about doing sort of fashion police at one point. I think there was a conversation about certain.
Yeah.
I don't want to give away the ideas, but we have a lot of of different things. But I think it's just an opportunity for like lovers of competitive Counter-Strike to come together and talk, and also to give it a bit of a different perspective, because there's a lot of podcasts out there.
Yes.
But we kind of wanted something a little bit different, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are like so many amazing CS podcasts out there, and you can listen to them all the time. And I love that you can always like stay up to date with everything. So we will also talk about what's happening right now, current things in CS, in like esports, obviously. But yeah, we also want to focus on the emotional part, on fun stuff, you know. Just like kind of like an all-arounder podcast. But yeah, I mean, it's still like, you know, in the making. So I think we're just gonna see where the wind will take us. I'm super excited. And yeah, I mean, now it's player break, so there's nothing like current to talk about except maybe roster changes. But I feel like so many podcasts already talked about all the roster changes. So I would like just to wrap up the major maybe just a little bit. I mean, I have been there. Sam, you have watched it from home. How was it for you?
So for me, it was difficult because of the time difference. So I'm in South Africa, but I'm actually on the exact same time as Europe. So we're on CEST, which I know confuses everyone. It confuses me as well. But it meant that like a lot of stuff was happening sort of late into the evenings. I think Blast did a really good job of the way that they timed it so that I could actually spend most of my evening. I think most games would start around like 4 or 5 p.m. and you could kind of watch into the evenings, and they didn't finish that late, depending on whether they went long, so you could get most of them in. But I did find myself falling asleep a lot of the time towards like the last games, which sucked. But obviously for the grand final, watched the whole way through. That was hard. But I want to know from you, because it's always so tough for me now, before like watching Counter-Strike as a fan and always being at home, I didn't feel it. But now having like worked a couple of events and actually having a chance to be there, there's always like FOMO when I start watching. And then when not only is there FOMO, like I get mad excited when I see like my friends. So like I see you on camera and I'm on my couch.
But you want to be
like,
there too.
Yeah, but then I'm also like, oh my God, there's Donna. Oh my, like Vexany, who's a photographer. I saw her run across the stage at one point. I'm like, oh my God, there's Steph. Like I get super excited. But that
I feel the same.
Yeah, that Austin crowd, Donna, that looked insane. Like what was it like being there? Or what was that experience like?
It was really outstanding, I have to say. I mean, I've been to so many CS events. Like, even before I did all the interviews that I do with One at events, I've been always like, I've been a CS fan for like 10 years now almost. And I've been to all the IM Cologne since 2016. I just missed the one during like COVID, I think. It was the second year. So I've seen a lot of great events, but this is definitely one of my top 3. It was just like the NA crowd was very open, and Very energetic, very, very energetic. I've been 2 times to I Am Dallas, and it is similar, but it is much smaller. So it was like, and I already liked Dallas because I was like, okay, this crowd is wild, you know. They're really, really energetic, and they're passionate, and they're like also they love their country, and I love that as well because they're proud, right, to be American, and they show this to the whole world, and I love that because I'm like, you know, we have CS events in all of those countries, and I really like when you have like some identity at the events, right, and they really showed that. And Austin was kind of like Dallas, just like 10 times bigger. I mean, not 10 times, but you know what I mean. It just like felt bigger. People were very enthusiastic, and it was just like crazy energy in there, you know, like especially when FaZe played. Wow, this was probably my favorite match. I'm so sad that we didn't go to 3 maps because this was like crazy to watch, really. Like the people just went wild, like completely.
What do you think it is about that for me? Because the FaZe magic, right? So I was drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, I wanted a FaZe in the finals. I believed Simple was going to go the distance or whatever. But what do you think it is about FaZe that like gets? I mean, obviously for the Austin crowd, it's Elige, right? That's their North American representation. But there's something about like FaZe magic that just translates to everyone, and everyone believes when a major comes around.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, you know, FaZe, I feel like when they make it to playoffs, they can always like make a deep run, you know, like you just like know they have like the potential, just like even if they didn't have the best season. And FaZe, obviously they have shown like in the past that they're capable, like, you know, to make a deep run they made it to finals multiple times. And now with Simple and Elige, it was just like, it can't get better, right? Because I think even if they didn't have Elige, just having Simple created so much hype. I mean, Simple still has so many fans, and he's still very respected and loved from his fans, right? By his fans, and just like the combination FaZe, then Simple plus Elige in front of home crowd, I think it couldn't get better than this. And a FaZe Vitality finals would have been probably one of the like most memorable major finals we would have seen.
I mean, yes. It's like the worst because I don't want to take away from Mongolz or anyone else who was playing there. Like, obviously, like, it's a huge accomplishment,
too, right? Yeah.
But damn, FaZe Vitality, that would have
been... I think everyone, honestly, I think everyone really like wanted that finals, unless you're like, you know, crazy fan from some other team. But I like the Mongolz Vitality as well because it had like kind of like people were like really cheering for the Mongolz, and you had like this like, you know, underdog story, like you know, a team like Mongolz, obviously they have proven themselves, right? They're definitely a tier 1 team and they belong in tier 1, but still you would not like, I think not a lot of people would have predicted them to like, for example, to make it to the finals alongside Vitality, right? So it was a crazy run, and it was great to see a team like Mongolz being for the first time in their lives at a major finals. I think it was much more like interesting than if you would have had Vitality Spirit, you know?
For sure. And like super wholesome as well. I kind of like the vibe of that. Like, you had so many like epic moments, but I want to circle back to the FaZe story, but before we get into those moments, because one of my like favorite moments from the major was like straight off the bat, karrigan and his shit talking. There is a very specific clip where he gives Heroic a hard time about a long pop, and he makes a whole little statement for everyone.
And Senpai is dead.
Hey guys, you know what this round is called? Anti-long pop. What did you guys do? Long pop. Come on. Step up the game. I really need to talk to them, so take a time out, I think, no?
Oh my god. Oh.
This was like, for me, this is why I love Counter-Strike, right, Donna? I like a little bit of trash talk. I enjoy a little bit of to and fro. But one of the things that came up during the Austin Major, which I don't understand, so I'm keen to hear your opinion on this, is like there were a bunch of people on social media saying that the trash talk had gone too far and it's unprofessional. Where do you stand on this?
So I like the banter. I like the trash talk as long as it's like harmless, I would say. I think, like you feel like when you read the room, even from like a viewer perspective, like you feel like how it comes off across, right? And I feel like something like banter, like karrigan from karrigan or Apex, it's like I could never take that seriously. Like it's just like, it's banter, and it's like, of course that moment it's a bit toxic, but it's also funny, right? But there have been some moments, I don't know if you saw that, but like I also picked it out. There have been like some moments, it was like in the earlier stages, for example from Nemiga, I found that a bit too much. And there's like moments where it really goes too far. And I feel like it's just like that, like it mostly comes from younger players. So my take on this, especially if you have like more experienced players, I feel like they just like can read the room. They know when they can trash talk and what kind of trash talk is still okay, right? But I feel like especially if they're like younger or like not used to like play tier 1, they go a bit like it becomes more like toxic, right? And that I don't like at all, because I find it cringe. So there was like a few moments, for example, I think it was Nemiga versus 3D Max, and it was stuff like, oh guys, click mouse 1, but it was like, it didn't sound funny. And then he was like saying like how, hey, remember Serbia when I fucked you? And it was just like, dude, chill. It was like not funny.
Use your mouse, please. I also think singling out players is a big...
Yes.
1v3 for Body. Oh, and he might have had a second, but not the third.
Did you remember us in Serbia when I fucked you?
And you could see 3 Max, they were like really tilted. They didn't laugh about it. And then when they ended up winning in the end, even though Nemiga was leading, then they were like, you could see they were actually angry. And I think it was their coach who was literally, he said like in French, like, fil de pute or something, like something really bad that I think you should not say to colleagues, right?
And there it is, that release of tension. They were holding it in.
And he was like really like aggressive about it, and you could see they were actually angry. And for me, this is like crossing the line, because it stops, like it's not sportsmanship for me anymore. If it gets really toxic to that point that people are really like offended about it, and I think they had a right to be offended, because it was like just too much, it was not funny, and it was just like insulting. And this type of trash talk I do not like, because I think it is unprofessional. We just have to find like a kind of like a, how to say, like a line where it's still like funny, because no one is that sensitive. But yeah, it shouldn't be rude. You get me?
I get you. I sometimes wonder, do you think it's also like an age thing of like when you're younger, so you see karrigan and Apex, and like their clips are trending, everyone's laughing, like it's super cool. So you think you're being funny when you make this comment, but actually like you said, it's either super cringy, or 2, you just come across as like an asshole. Yeah. And I wonder sometimes if it's more like you were attempting to say something that you thought would be funny, but you just didn't read the room. Or do you think that like it's like general toxicity of like, I just want to say something horrible to you right now?
So I think most of it is just like, maybe trying to be funny went wrong. It can be in some cases, but some I have like, I like we both watch a lot of CS, right? And in some cases I'm like, yeah, no, that's just toxic. That's just like weird. Like for example, I speaking of experienced player, like Kaden's trash talk is fine, right? Like we always had funny moments laughing with him. But then when he was like, when they were playing against the Mongolz back then, and they were like destroying him in heroic, and he called them, you fucking noobs, that was mean. Because it's like, such young players, they're like, it was like, I think like one of their first times playing at the bigger event. They're like come from Asia, and then you yell at them and call them noobs. That was like so mean. I felt so bad for them.
But it's not only that. So like, I'm gonna call. This was on a desk, so I can say this. But like, I actually,
it was studio.
Yeah, I was on the desk.
Yeah. Oh my god, you worked that event. Yeah.
And I was hosting the desk for that game. So Kadian came up after the game, and we asked him about it. And then he tried to justify it. He said, it's just banter and whatever. But then he went on and said, and also like sometimes, and this was, I'm really going to throw him under the bus now, but he's like, sometimes in the elevator they don't greet, and like blah, like I don't know if he was trying to like save himself, but I had to be like, I couldn't say this on the desk, but I was like, dude,
yeah.
At that point, the Mongols could barely speak English. So like,
I mean,
maybe
they were
it's-
maybe shy. I don't know.
yeah, I was like, maybe I don't think, because obviously we see the players, they weren't being rude. It wasn't like they weren't greeting you because they were rude. I think that they were, one, probably in awe because they are now here in Europe with like their favorite teams playing against you. 2, very shy. 3, Canadian, they don't speak English. Like, but I couldn't say that to him on the desk. But I thought like using that as your justification to call them like effing noobs, that to me was mean. Backfired on him though, because that like every time.
I mean, he got memed for it. It's fine. It's like, you know, water under the bridge, right? Like no one like holds it against him like in a serious matter, obviously. But yeah, I think he just like tried to like make banter, but it just went wrong, and then, you know, maybe try to like, you know, justify it somehow. But yeah, this I think is a good example. But for me, from like what I have seen so far, mostly, especially if it's like more experienced player, I feel like their banter is like never really toxic, you know? There's maybe a few exceptions, and it can get cringe if it's too much. For example, karrigan, right? Like his whole, I'm so torn. Like this whole like wee wee. In the beginning, I found it funny, okay, and I was laughing for like 2 times, 3 times. But when he did it for like the 4th and 5 times, I just rolled my eyes and I was like, please, not the ambulance again. But I think it's like he overdid it. I was like, dude, like, come on, please, not the ambulance, you know? But it was like not toxic or something. It was just like, you know, that it like, for me personally, it was like, I think he overdid it. But in the beginning, it was fun. And, you know, like that's the thing. Like, even if some people find it cringe, you will still have people who like enjoy it. And then it will create content. People talk about it. That's fine. Like I think we need that in CS. You know, we don't want to be like a boring esport where everyone is perfect and you know, like, you know, there's a German saying, like, you have the stick up your ass. Do you say that in English as well?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
That is
So we don't want to be like that, right? Like, we don't want the scene to be like that. It's okay that we're a bit more like loose, you know, and it's not that strict. But I still think, especially like younger players, I think they have to like read the room, where's the line, you know? And yeah, so like that Nemiga 3D Max moment, that is, I think, a great example for that.
So where is the line in terms of, because this is my favorite moment from the major, one of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
But I saw online that people in other esports like Valorant were like, how could this happen? Which was the rise of Vitality in the finals and Apex with the middle finger. I thought that was, I'm gonna say it, that was iconic. To me, that's iconic. Like that was just magical. I don't think that crosses the line, right?
No, 100% not. And on top of that, he did it to the crowd, and it was for no reason. Like, it was not for a reason, because everyone was always going, "Fuck you, Apex," right? It's like a meme, and he's just like, he's memeing back, right? So he's like, "Fuck you guys, I don't give a shit," and he's embracing like this like villain role, right? Wherever. It's like you have like different types of villains, right? You have like the actual evil, toxic villain that no one likes, and then you have like the funny, maybe goofy villain, which Apex embraced. And I also think that's the same, because all the people who like chant "fuck you, Apex," I don't think you can take that seriously. Like, I don't think anyone there actually hates him, you know? Like, it's just like a banter, right? And him responding like that was epic. That was so fucking cool. I love that.
I loved it too. And before that, I liked that because he constantly talks about how he wants better chance. He's like, basically, like, you can hate me all you want and you can say whatever you want, but like, come up with something better. He's like, the "fuck you, Apex," like, it's boring. He kept saying, like, give me better chance. I thought that was magical. But for me,
it was amazing.
That was like such an iconic moment. I feel like that's one that's gonna, like, if you had to summarize the Austin Major for me, like in 4 or 5 years' time, and I have to look, but that's the one I'll remember. That it wasn't even the game, it was that moment of Apex. I'll be like, that was for me in the moment. But we do need to actually talk about the games, because I feel like that's something that we should focus on, is like some of the moments in game that kind of got your heart racing or whatever. What for you would be, I suppose, one of the standouts, do you think?
Oh, there were so many, actually. I had like a few like highlights, like game highlights that I like picked for me personally. Maybe also not like the most obvious ones. Obviously, I don't know. Have you seen the Elish 1v2 clutch?
Yes.
Oh, that was crazy, you know?
Is the headshot necessary? It's a liege. Last round of the half. Everything to play for. Everything to be gained. The flash, the swing. He's got it. The first is his. Oh! He's got it! The star stands up on home soil and gives FaZe the edge as we head to halftime.
It's also the phase magic, right? So like there's that moment when Elish does stuff like that where you're like, yes, here we go.
And it's Elish. It's their homeboy, right? Like doing this in the US major, bro. That was so good. Gameplay wise, what I really liked was it was Mongolz versus FaZe. It's 4-in-1, right? And then you have the Mongolz with 3 deagles, and they just do some crazy magic. That was insane.
I felt like I'm getting goosebumps again just watching it because I'm just remembering like what, because it was insane.
Dude, I like the tension from the Mongolz here and how they made that happen is just incredible. And I feel like that's so typical for Mongolz because they have done stuff right, dude. The 9-10 kill here was insane, by the way. So
it's
this was
my
for
favorite.
me. Yeah, this was for me like so incredible because it was like, you know, like they were behind and like you play against a team like FaZe and I mean people like Mongolz, right? But when it was FaZe against Mongolz, people cheered for FaZe. Everyone wanted FaZe to beat them, and they knew. Not just people in the arena, people at home, probably most people who were like not Mongolz fans wanted FaZe to win. And then they're down like a few rounds and they have like 3 deagles and it's like a 3 or 4 situation. And I feel like it's like so... I feel like if someone can pull this off, it's the Mongolz, right? Like they are like sometimes such good moments with deagles. They're really good pistol players. It's insane. They have so many highlights with pistols. And I just loved how they were like peeking them, like, you know, finding the perfect moments, peeking them one by one. You could like just like feel, dude, their communication was on top. And at some point, I feel like FaZe looked a bit like lost, like, okay, what's happening? How are we losing this right now, you know? And like, I don't know, I just like love that moment. It's just like something that really like stood out for me, you know, like from like the other team who was like not like the favorite here, crowd favorite, and who did something like really crazy. I love that.
I was going to ask you on the FaZe Mongolz thing though, like at what point do you think, because you were in the arena, did the crowd start shifting towards supporting Mongolz? Like where did you see that shift start?
Definitely not map 1. I think like map 2, like maybe half time or map 2, you had like more, you heard like it was a bit louder for Mongolz. It became louder. But yeah, I mean, it's just like overall, of course, there was also disappointment. Like you could feel it was like a bit at the end of map 2, like before it was over. But when you were like, okay, it's probably gonna end in a 2-0, dude, like the energy just shifted. It just like became like less and less energized. Like you could feel like it was like people were like, oh, we're not even gonna get the third map, you know. You know, it's yeah. I think that's like, you know, when you could hear more of the Mongolz fans, but it was still an incredible matchup.
What I really loved though is how quickly the Austin crowd sort of just immediately changed their allegiance, right? So they were sad that FaZe was gone, but then straight away they were like, then everyone was a Mongolz fan, and they were like, hell, you know what? We know that you're going up against these like juggernauts, so everyone's gonna have your back. I kind of like I like that crowd energy because like some, you know, there are some places like we obviously saw this in Rio where like the moment their teams are out, just done, like fans are out. I like that we didn't have that situation here and that there was like love for this team, because I think that's also important in something like the major. Like you just have to get behind the next team and keep that energy going.
Yeah, so I've actually talked to, because I also like do the fan interviews, right? Like we interview like players and fans for Ona's channel, and I talked to the fans before FaZe Mongolz. Most people, like especially like the Americans, there were like some tourists actually there. All of them were FaZe fans, all of them. So they were all on FaZe side, right? And then after that, when I went and talked to people and was like, okay, guys, who are you cheering for now, right? Because FaZe is out. And almost everyone said Mongolz. And then I asked them, like, why? Like, they kicked out your team. And they were like, yeah, because of that. Like, they kicked out my team, so they better make it all the way. That was their attitude. It was not like, oh, this fuck these guys, like they kicked out like FaZe, like we wanted to see Elysian Simple in the finals or whatever. No, they were like, okay, you beat our team, now you're gonna make it all the way, you know. And I liked that. It was like, you know, no bad blood, like no one was like bummed out, like they just like shifted and they cheered for them because, you know, maybe also they liked them and they were like a bit more like of an underdog compared to like Vitality, for example. But I like that they were like not mad at them and they were like, okay, now you win all the way, you know. That was kind of cute.
It is cool. I also just like, for me, the Mongolz story is, I don't know if I resonate more with this because of where I live. In South Africa, obviously, we are so far away from everything that like we can't play on European servers, right? So if you play CS here, you have to just play in South Africa. It's a really small community. Like it's the competitive scene is even smaller. We don't really get out much. And for South African players to leave, it's so expensive. I'm really lucky because my dad's from the UK, so I have a British passport. So like I can get in and out for work fine. But for a lot of people, if they're on a South African passport, they have to get visas. And in order to get a visa, you have to like prove that you're either on holiday or working. So you can't just like up and leave to go play Counter-Strike in Europe, right? So it's really impossible for our players to get out of the scene. One, to compete, or two, just to afford to be able to like live in Europe to compete. So like we are, JT obviously from Complexity is like the miracle story and Sonic and stuff, but they had to leave. Like they literally packed up their stuff when they were really young, left the country. So for me, like the Mongolz is just, and I did this with Fallen and the boys back in the day, like the Luminosity SK vibe, where I feel more attached to them because I know how hard it probably was to get to the point they were at. And then when you see a team like the Mongolz make a major final, and I know all the hardcore fans will say, oh, but you know, their side of the bracket was easier, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. You play what's in front of you. They've done that. Like, there's a little bit of magic when a team like that walks onto a stage. There 100%. Is something kind of special about it. That's why we love underdog stories, because you just go like, damn, that could be me. That could be anyone. They make you believe. Like, they make you believe that anyone can be on that stage standing next to Zawu and Apex, right? And that's kind of the magic that I feel when I watch the Mongolz. And I mean, there's a logical like analyst brain that says, okay, well, easier side of the bracket, blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't matter. In that moment, you're just like, when they made the finals, I was like, damn, that's cool. And for a moment, I was like, imagine they win. Holy shit, that would be insane.
I mean, that would have been like history, like Mongolian history, probably even. They got so much support from their country, and it's exactly how you say, like there's magic behind it, and it drags so much attention. I mean, like they made like they filled the whole arena after the major, like a fan tournament, like fan event. You saw that probably on Twitter, where they like had a walk-in and played a show match like in Mongolia, and they filled the whole arena for like. Mental. Yeah, it's just like, it's technically just like a Mongolz after party with fans. Dude, that is insane. And it is beautiful. And I love that. And I hope we will have more stories like that. It is hard, 100% to come through somehow, you know. It's tough out there, like, right, tough competition. But if you make it, especially from like a smaller region, it's absolutely beautiful. And I've also met a woman that I interviewed doing like crowd stuff, and she's like, I think she's in her 60s. She's an older lady, and so there was like a whole like, I don't know, there were like 15 people from Mongolia, and they were all Mongolz fans, obviously. And then I asked them, okay, guys, were you all into CS before the Mongolz, or did you get into CS because of the Mongolz? Most of them said they were into CS before, and then the lady said, I went into CS because of the Mongolz. That was so cute. And then I talked to her. Yeah. And I talked to her and interviewed her. And so her story is that she just like really like, you know, got inspired by a Mongolian team trying to make a name for themselves, fight them through like the scene and break through and compete with like the best of the world. And she wrote a whole own book. And she's traveling around, like it's following them to big events. It is so adorable. And she's like, you know, reporting about them and stuff, everything Mongolian, obviously. But I think that is so sweet that like teams like this inspire people who are like, have nothing to do with the scene. And they're like, okay, what's happening? Like somehow team people from our country are doing something. What is this? You know, it's like, it's amazing.
I know the very lady you're talking about because I did an ESL Challenger event, and she just became like this like random translator during the event because she was in the crowd.
Yeah, she translated,
Yeah, and she was just translating on stage, which was like absolutely insane. And I was like, how cool is this like 60-year-old lady now travels the world following the Mongolz and got into Counter-Strike because of them. Like that blows my mind. And it's kind of, I think, it was one of my moments as well. I'm sure you've seen it as well, which was the 9-10 ace that got them to map points in the grand finals on that first map. And you're just like, that's the moment where I kind of went, oh shit, like they're gonna win the first map. Like, oh shit, they could. Like, there's that little moment of like belief. Because I'll be honest, in the grand finals, I'm sitting watching with my boyfriend. And he's going, because he's a League of Legends fan. So like Counter-Strike he dabbles in it. But he's watching being like, could the Mongols win? And I'm like, no. And then like we sort of, as the first map keeps going, he's like, but they could win. I'm like, no, Vitality is winning the whole thing. Like I was very hard. And then that moment happens and he's like, so they could win, right? And I was like, oh yeah, actually they could. That was like for me the moment of like, oh, maybe there is a game on, there's going to be a game on our hands now. Like this is a proper series. So I think it's cool that they did that. But now there is another moment that we talk about, a team that I think a lot of people thought were going to win. They didn't. I think Spirit was a favorite for a lot of people.
Yes.
But I forgot, I can't believe I'm going to say this, Donna, I forgot about this moment until you shared your clips with me. And then I rewatched it and I was like, yeah, I'd actually forgotten, and then I was like, holy shit, this was so good. Yeah. Like, this actually was so good.
So this was incredible for me, the Zontix clutch. When he went for, like, the ninja defuse, it's obviously so fucking cool. But I hate when this happens. This is really, like, one of my, I don't know, maybe, like, it's, like, a bad opinion and other people, like, love that. I mean, of course, your team does it, right? It's amazing. And it was incredible and like ballsy from him that he just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna stick it, you know, like it was planted for connector, right? And the player is connected and he knows that, right? And he didn't have time to go and kill him. And then he just like goes, just like hopes that he will not hit him. And it worked, right? So it was like, for me, these are stolen rounds in a bit, you know, in my opinion. I always call them stolen or gifted rounds. If you win through just like going in a smoke and ninja diffusing with a kit, I really hate that because I like sometimes you have like such good rounds that were played by the enemy team right on the T side, and they made an amazing execute. They found great entries and you know, play a good after plan situation, and then just someone comes like, okay, bloop, and then sticking it, you know, I just like, oh my god,
damn it.
Yeah, and of course it was great for Spirit and it was important for Spirit. I still can't believe they actually didn't make it to finals. I think they were so underwhelming. Like honestly, they were so underwhelming. I think they have a much higher ceiling and they didn't show it at all at the major. But this round was a gift, and it's great for them. But I really hate when that happens. So I picked it as like a crazy highlight where everyone was crazy. I went crazy. I was like, oh my god, this didn't just happen. But I also hate those stuff. Like for every team.
I just say it's great if you're in the crowd watching it and it's happening on a stage, just because it's like mental and you can get into that hype and start shouting. But like as a player, you're just like, you're joking, right? What the fuck did they have? Yeah, that's pretty much where you're sitting. Yeah,
for us as viewers, amazing, always cinema. But I think if you like, you know, like if you look at it like the competitive side, I really hate that it is so easy to steal rounds away just through like a smoke ninja diffuse, you know. But yeah, it happens. I mean, it's part of the game as well, right? So it's a good and a bad thing.
It's a good and a bad thing. What do you think happens with Spirit now, though? Because like this is the conversation that everyone's having. But like, does this lineup stay the same? Are they going to change it up? Like it's obviously They have to make a change.
Yeah, they have to. So the thing is, honestly, I know people love pointing fingers, right? But I think all of their players, even if maybe some had like worse moments, I think all of their players like have what it takes to compete in tier 1. But I think they have been like a bit stagnant. I mean, they have like really high peaks and then they're like just like, you know, being like kind of like, you know, how to say, flat for time again. So yeah, I think sometimes just a change is needed, like a bit of fresh air or whatever. I think, I don't know, it's probably gonna be Magix or I think it's probably gonna be Magix. From what I heard, it's just like rumors, right? But you never know. It could be Zontix, but like that's the thing. Like, you know, it's hard to say. I'm sure they will make a change, like one player at least. Doesn't mean that this player like didn't do a good job or whatever, but they need something new. Like something isn't clicking for them, and I can't quite like point it out, like, because it's always hard to like say stuff like this from the outside, because you don't know how is the mood. It's not just like about performance and stats, right? It's just like how is the communication flow, how is the energy, right? Because if you have like, for example, and this is something that the Spirit gives me the vibe, they're a very negative energy team. Like
very
they have
negative energy.
Yeah, it's just like maybe it's too much. It's like too emo. Like I get it, like all this, like especially younger, also like younger players from CS region, they're like all edgy emos kind of. But if you have too many of those teams, it's too much, bro. Like you need some light as well. You need like some uplifting personality as well, because otherwise it's just like, I don't know, it's like a dark deep pit and of desperation and depressing feelings. I don't know. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, you need someone there for the vibes, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Making the joke, but you kind
Yeah.
of do. Like, you need someone to just be like,
Yeah.
it's okay, guys, we can keep going.
Yeah, and Chopper doesn't give me the feeling. I think he's more like of a serious, more like stricter IGL. Because, for example, like if you have someone like Apex, you can play with 4 emos. I think Apex could handle 4 emos, because he would just like hype them up and say, okay, guys, we do this, energized, right? But in Spirit, no one gives me like, bro, everyone is like, I feel like everyone is depressed, you know?
I think it must also
gives
be
a smile here and there, but that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it also must be really tough to be in a team with Donk. And I say that because everyone else,
Yeah.
anyone watching is going to tell me I'm insane. They're going to be like, oh, but you're playing with the best player in the world. I'm like, yes. Which means when you fuck up, it's so much more obvious.
Yeah.
Like, no one's ever, like, you are constantly aware of the fact that you are playing with the best player in the world. So if you mess up, like, you are making him look bad. Like, that's gotta eat on you a little bit. Like, there has to be especially because when Donk doesn't show up, the team plays so badly. I was like,
That's it.
For a bunch of emo kids. Then on top of that, you're like, wow, if he's not playing, we suck. So like, how long do you get into your head where you're like, we're basically shit without him?
Sam, exactly these words Magix said to me. So I was at the ESL playoffs. Like, I mean, you saw I did like some of the sideline interviews. It was first time I worked with them. And before Spirit's match in the ESL Pro League playoffs, like the most recent season, I know he was like not being 100% like, I think like you cannot take his interviews 100% serious, because he's like, I think he's trying to be edgy and emo extra, you know, like I think he's trolling a bit with it. Like I don't take it 100% seriously. But I said, I asked something about like his performance and Donk's performance and whatever. And then he said like, if Donk doesn't play good, we are washed without Donk.
Speaking of Donk disaster class, I mean, Donk even in the disaster class still had a really decent rating. But yeah, we didn't see the Donk class series. How important is it for you guys for Donk to step up today?
We are washed, darling.
Like fully like dead inside. We are washed without Donk, and you don't have to take it literal. Like I don't think like they actually like 100% believe it, but there's still something in the back of your head. I think there's always a truth to it, right? And if you have like this attitude, even if it's just in the back of the head, that if your star player doesn't drop 30, like you know that you cannot do anything, then you will doubt yourself, and everything falls apart. You know. So you need like a strong base of people being like, hey, okay, we got this, guys. Supporters, you know, like we will do it. We're a team, right? And we don't always need to get carried. So yeah, you're right. It is hard to play with him, because I think it like makes you doubting yourself, right? If he doesn't perform.
Makes you doubt yourself, and also like I just think that you can end up beating yourself up. I know this because like if I play with a Counter-Strike or anything else, if I play with my mates and they're like better than me, my brother is just like a god at any game. So like no matter what I play with him, he's really good. Every time we finish playing, even though we've won, I'll come out and just be like, wow, I really suck. Because I feel like he has to carry me all the time. You know what I mean? So it starts like you just start being like, wow, I'm pretty useless at everything. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I don't know. I'm not a professional player, but like maybe that's the way they feel. Who freaking knows?
Yeah, I guess. But we will see. I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, Navi obviously is exchanging someone. That is interesting. I think they maybe also actually needed a change. It felt like also, but just like flat somehow.
And sad.
Yeah.
Navi made me sad. Every interview I saw it at PGL Astana because I was there, but then at the major as well. Like every time Alexi B did an interview, I was like, please stop being so sad. Like,
Oh, no.
what is going? Because they were like, they were so depressed as well.
Honestly, it's just like no insider info. It's just like how it looks to me. Body language, interviews. You know, if you hear in-game comms and stuff, I think they just have like so much pressure just to be better and that they're not good enough. Even though they're still like had, I would say, respectable achievements with this lineup. And good runs, of course, not comparable to like Vitality or something, obviously, but yeah, I think there's like a lot of pressure, and I think there's like high expectations on also from Blade. I'm pretty sure about it. And yeah, eventually, when you stop winning and then you're not making deep runs anymore, and you know, hey, like Oric and coach is like expecting so much more from us, it just like drags you down. And yeah, but you're right. I also felt like worse and worse vibes from them, you know, like more like negativity, more like being like sad, maybe tired even. They seem tired also to me a lot of times. So yeah, they're getting a new player. It's from their academy team, Akazi, and Navi Academy they had shown some great results. I followed them a bit. They won, I think, 2 CCTs. I'm not sure though. Like, didn't look it up. I just know 100% they won one because I watched it, and I think they won another one. And some like online tier 2 event. I do not know which one it was, but it was recently. So they're keeping up with like decent tier 2 teams.
Yeah, they won the Yellow Compass, which went online as well. Yeah. That team is. I'm surprised that like a bigger org hasn't swooped in and just taken that team.
Oh, they might. I mean, so I think what the smart thing is, right? Like they pick up 1 or 2 players that they want for their own team, like Navi, I'm talking about, but they keep the core and then they just sell the core and then they start a new academy team. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Or they just like
I think they said that.
keep
I do
running
actually
with
think
the
that
core.
Yeah, I think that they put an announcement up that the rest of the team is basically available. And I think that
I mean, that's smart.
If you had to buy that core, I'm pretty sure their VRS rankings mean that they'll get invites straight away. I think that was the whole clash, is because they won't be able to play if they stay with Navi because of those, I think, conflicts of interest. So like, there's a potential there for an org to come in and pick that team up, and they look really hot. So that could be an interesting one.
100%. I mean, like the thing is how it is. Obviously, like Navi is higher ranked than them. I think like. So I just like Navi, what is the 7, and Navi Junior is like 19 in Europe, VRS. So they will like, you can still like, it can still be possible that like they get invite to a play-in from the main event where Navi gets the direct invite, right? Like to the main event. So, and that doesn't work as well because if they make it to the play-in, they're like at the same stage. So yeah, it makes sense. And I'm pretty sure someone will pick them up. I mean, they're like good in the rankings. Promising players for sure, and I think Makazi's a good pickup. And we'll find out soon, I guess, who got replaced. I mean, there's already rumors, but yeah.
I have a weird thing that happens to me whenever I do these podcasts and we talk about the rumors, is that like 10 minutes after we end the recording,
It's
the official statement comes out.
Let's just
and then
go
when
to the next topic.
in 2-3 days time when this comes out, we'll be like, oh well, it's already all been announced. So we're going to call it. Yeah, no more roster move conversations just in case. We pretty much like touched on the things we wanted to, but I feel like we even started talking about other stuff. So I'm kind of excited.
Me
First
too.
episode. This feels good, Donna. I don't know what you think. If you're watching, we'd love to hear from you. I think we think we've got something good, And we just want to talk shit and talk Counter-Strike. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it was, I think for the first episode, we just like really had like a mini draft, like literally just like 3 words. Okay, what could we talk about? We put some stuff in there that we didn't even plan. I love that. But that's the good thing about it, because we both love Counter-Strike and we're both invested into like the competitive scene. We follow it. So I think we can always talk, right? That's the point about podcasts. You talk to people who just have a passion for it, right? And I'm so excited. Like, if you guys have any wishes or ideas, what we could do, let us know. We're still like in the making, but I really enjoyed it. I like listening to us.
I like listening to you. I like talking to you. I like that we have an excuse now to do this regularly. And obviously, if you are watching, like Donna said, let us know what you like and what you want us to talk about. And also, do us a little favor and share this far and wide. It's a little bit of a different vibe to what you're used to. No angry men. It's just us. Sorry, boys. I had to take a little bit of a dig. It's just us talking about the thing we love.
So, tier list, pro tier list, who looks the best next? That was just a little hint on Kyosuke, who did.
I know. I remember
on Twitter. And he rated all the female players by looks. Oh, that was crazy.
And everyone was.
Imagine if you do that.
But you know what the thing is? Yes. Okay. So come on. It is kind of weird. If we did it,
like
do you know if we did it, people wouldn't
it
be
wouldn't
like
be as bad. That is true.
They wouldn't ask for us to be cancelled. People were asking for him. to
it would
like,
be cringe. But
it would be cringe. But they were like, he needs to like get out of spirits, and this is ridiculous, and
that
and
was
we should
way
be
too crazy.
It's so weird that if we did it though, people would be like, it's cringy, but everyone would watch. People would watch. Yeah. So
and
how does that
to
work?
Cancel him. It's just like, because he's a dude and he's rating women's look. It's just like, more sensitive, I guess. But no, he should not get cancelled for this. It is still cringe and stupid. Like, why are you doing that on stream?
It was
dude?
super cringe. Yeah.
I think like general rating looks like is always weird. So what I did once just before we stopped, I used FaceApp and I turned like the top.
I remember this.
Yeah.
You turned them into.
I turned them into girls. But that is and then I rated with my chats, But that was different because technically they don't. It's made up, right? It's just like some AI. It was like funny, and I'm just like, I'm a woman, I'm rating them as women. It's fair, like they're like AI generated, like, right? These are like made up people, but it was funny. But yeah,
I loved that one.
Yeah.
I did remember that. That was pretty good.
Let's do that for the next major segment.
Our thumbnail is going to be Kyosuke as a woman. There we go.
That's hilarious. No, it's fine. It's he's gonna survive it. But yeah. I'm looking forward to it. So guys, again, thank you so much for listening and watching. I'm super excited, Sam. And yeah, see you next time.